Let's dive in. Great to
Let's
have
do
you
it.
on today's interview. I will go like right into it because I'm like, who is Caty? Who are you? What are you doing in your everyday life? Where do you live? How old are you? Whatever gives us a little bit of like context of you as a person.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I live in San Diego, California. I have two kids. I've been married for 6 years. I have a golden retriever dog. My kids are 1.5 and 3.5. Definitely keep me busy. In terms of exercise, I have a strong background of overdoing it and not resting. And in college, I had an eating disorder, but I didn't really know it. I just would overdo it and restrict. And I didn't realize I had it until I was trying to get pregnant and realized I didn't have a period. And I then had to start eating more. And then I got pregnant pretty quickly. Um, so, yeah, there's my kind of background in terms of exercise and who I am.
And when did you first like got in touch with like fitness or health and fitness? Um, where was that like the first moment where you got kind of like health and fitness conscious, right?
Okay. Yeah. So growing up, it's funny. People think because they see me now and they're like, "You're so athletic, like you're so muscular." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm not athletic at all. Like you put me in front of like a kickball or a baseball, like I am so not coordinated.
Are you
I
like
just like,
this?
yeah, I just exercise. I just like to exercise. I've always loved lifting weights, but I was never into sports. My parents, they like always said you could try things and I never stuck with anything.
Mm.
So, I actually since like I was 15, I've been going to the gym. So I've always been kind of like a gym rat, but I never had any structure, never knew what I was doing until a couple years ago. When I've always lifted weights, but a couple years ago is when I started shifting after my first pregnancy, where I started shifting into like, let's get a little bit more structure in this. Let's get a little bit more into like bodybuilding instead of just like going for no reason. I used to just be like, oh, I just like to do it. So I'm just going to keep going and I'm not going to track anything because I just like it and I just want to just do what I like. And I never tried actually having structure to it. So a couple years ago, about let's say, yeah, 3, 4 years ago is when I started adding structure to weightlifting.
And do you remember like because 15 is pretty early. Like I remember I started my fitness journey when I was like 25, so pretty late. I would say 15 is quite early. Like it's in your youth. Did you had like a moment where or a person in your life that was like let's go to the gym, or how did you got in touch with like lifting weights at that age? Or is that maybe normal where you live?
No. Um, I this guy that drove me to school, he worked out, and so I would go to go work out with him, and I just maybe it was because everyone else was in a sport and I needed to do something. I always, as I was always a little on the chunkier side in high school. Not until college is when I started to lose a little bit more weight. But I was so inactive in high school. I didn't play sports, so I went started going to the gym. But my eating habits were terrible. So I was always on the little thicker side. And it when I started college is when I became a runner. And then I started avid running and the weight started to fall off. And then that's when like the eating disorder kind of picked up.
And was there something like specific that kind of like triggered that shift for you? Like, do you remember a moment or a situation or
I remember always being insecure that I was always the bigger one out
Mm.
of my friends in high school. And then when I started running, I was like, oh, I'm actually not the bigger one. I can be the smaller one. And then I was the smallest one. So that kind of like spiraled a little bit to where I'm now. And I'm like, I still am the smallest one, but I want to shift to being like the strongest one, which I actually feel like of my group of friends, other than a few handful who are like incredibly strong, like I think I am becoming the strongest one. So that's kind of cool.
I love that. I like to see that transformation within you.
Yeah.
It's just great. And I think like so many women can relate to that. Like we kind of start, it's not for not everyone, of course, but a majority of women start from that place of like let's let's get to a smaller place, let's try to lose the weight and get smaller and skinnier and all those things, and then at some point there comes this shift of like actually I want to get strong. Like this is this is what I'm after. Like if
Yeah.
once you have that realization, it definitely changes the game. So what was like before you joined us, the situation that you were in? Because you joined us last year, I remember. Then you stopped for some time and then you came back. So do you remember the first time you joined us? Like what was going on in your life where you thought like, let's go for that?
Yes. So after my second pregnancy, I lost so much weight, like significant amount of weight, like 15 pounds. And I was always like, oh, it's because I'm breastfeeding. He's a really hard baby. He eats so much. But I think what happened was during my second pregnancy, I had a little bit harder time with my body image. So then I started tracking to make sure I was eating enough, but also like kind of just getting a better idea.
Mm.
And I think once I started tracking my macros and getting an idea of like the macro split, and then like how much my body needs to fuel, kind of playing with those calculators, the weight kind of fell off. And I think now, plus breastfeeding, I was just kind of, I found you, I think from Hattie Boydell. And I think I somehow, I don't know how I found you, but it was a blessing. And I was like, okay, she's speaking what I want. Like I want to be stronger. I want to put on weight. Like I want to gain weight. Why did I lose so much weight? I want to actually look like I lift. And I look at pictures of me before my first kid, and I was fluffy. I would work out all the time. Let me tell you, 2 hours a day, high intensity boot camps. I was so like, it had to be 2 hours, 2 hours to the minute or more. If I like took a like 5 minute break, it would be 2 hours and 5 minutes. Like it was very insane, but I was still fluffy. I never looked like I looked like, I mean, people were like, oh, you're in shape. You're good. You're healthy. You're really healthy. You work out all the time. Like,
Mhm.
no, that was not healthy. And I didn't look the part. And I would eat all over the place because I didn't have an idea of macros. So my second pregnancy, when I started getting an idea of macros and like what ideas of what my body needed, and then it started to shift. And then now I'm playing with you guys and like not only dialing the nutrition but dialing the strength. So what made me find you guys is that I was like, I'm too skinny. I need somebody to help me bulk here.
And were you like afraid to try something out that was like very different? Like were you what was the moment you kind of like took the leap and like joined and started to like go through the content, get to know us, right? Um,
Hmm.
were you nervous at that point or excited or can you
Oh
remember?
man, I loved your podcast. So when I joined you guys, I was like, all right, they're great. I had my onboarding call with Yannick, and I remember I pushed him back so much. I would be like, listen, I am not a beginner at this. I've been doing this for so long. I've been lifting weights. What are you going to do that's so special? And the way that he approached coming back at me was so like gentle, but like to matter of fact. And I was like, I left the call and I was like, dang, I think I might want to do this. I was like, I kind of liked him. I kind of liked the way that he handled me. Because I did push back. I was like, I thought I was more educated than I was, maybe.
Mhm.
And then Yannick is so smart and educated. And so after the call, after talking with him, I was like, I think he might actually know his stuff. So I was really excited to actually join you guys. And he didn't force me. He didn't like, it wasn't like a selling matter. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
join us now. He was just like, well, if you want this, yeah, let's do it. So
Let's
I'm
go
grateful for that. He handled it well. And then I came to learn that I was actually not as educated as I thought I was. And I really value having a coach.
So what was the first time then where you felt like, hey, things are maybe falling into place for you specifically on that journey?
Yeah. So I want to talk about this and I'm really excited to share. So I joined the club and I was paying monthly at that point. So I didn't really, I mean, I was committed, right? But I was always like, okay, let's do a couple months. And I think I gave it like 2 or 3 months. And so first off, I wasn't following the strength protocols. I was definitely doing all the
Yeah,
calls.
I
I was very
remember.
involved, but I was still doing my own strength protocols and not following the coaching. Um, and I was following you guys, but I just wasn't fully in, and I wasn't seeing much progress. And I was like, you know what? I can't afford to do this if I'm not going to do it fully. So I mean, as much as I loved you guys, I had to back out.
Yeah.
So I stopped after like I think 3 months. I gave myself 2 or 3 months to do it. And so my break. So I took a couple months off, but I was following everything, every free thing you were posting. I was all over it. Every podcast you posted, I was like eager for it to come out so I could listen. And I just missed the group. And I saw that you guys all got together and what I don't know what country, but you guys all got together. I was so jealous. I was like, those are the girls that I was writing, and I wanted to be a part of that. Obviously, I wouldn't travel, but I just missed being part of the community and like being in the inn. And I was still struggling so much with like this, I mean, I still struggle a little bit with this bulking. It's hard for anybody that has a history of restriction. So I struggled with this idea of like, I need to grow, I need to grow, I need to stop doing so much. And I was still doing everything, nothing was changing. Um, and it's funny because I started therapy. So I like hired a therapist and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get help. I'm gonna do this. So I hired a therapist and I didn't really like her from the beginning. I didn't like her, but I was like, I gotta still do this. Like I promised myself I'll trust her. I gave her like 4 sessions and I'm paying for this. So it adds up. And I gave her like 4 sessions and she didn't understand hypothalamic amenorrhea, where you lose your period from overdoing it. She didn't even know what it was. And I was like, how can this girl relate to me and coach me when she doesn't even know? Like, sure, she can help with some behavioral aspects. I was like, but I need like someone that truly understands. So I left and I was doing therapy and it wasn't working. So I was like, all right, this isn't working. I saw you guys again and I was like, I am kind of at rock bottom. Like, I need help. So I reached out to you and I was like, I need to get back in the group. But I can't do this like back and forth. Like if I'm going to do this again, I am going to do it. I'm going to dive in. And you gracefully let me come back in. You worked with me and I realized then. So when I was talking to my therapist before, she said, what was something that worked for you in the past? What was something that kind of helped you? And I reflected on the only other time that I really felt motivated and I was actually making progress was the first time that I enrolled with you guys. And so when she said that, I clicked and I was like, I don't need therapy from you. I need to go back to Strong Babes Club. And it's true. It's true. And so what clicked is when I realized I needed coaching.
Mm.
Yes, therapy is helpful, but what I need is an action plan. What I need is um my nutrition dialed, my strength training dialed. And yes, that's where the mindset comes in. And truthfully, Yannick is better than a therapist, 100%. And you are. You guys just the phrases that you guys use are just so much more effective than talking about my feelings and having my therapist say, that must be really hard. That wasn't working for me. What I needed was an action plan and a mindset shift. And that's what you guys provide.
Mm.
Um, and so that's where the big shift was, what it was like, you guys are my replacement for therapy, and it's far more effective because I'm getting the nutrition, I'm getting the exercise action plan, and then I'm getting the mindset shift, which is exactly what I needed of doing less. So that's why I can't get over that enough of like how you guys have stepped in that place for me. Um, so
It's amazing to see and like to hear that, of course, because oftentimes, with those um, group coaching programs, people think it's like very generic, or it's just a bunch of people, everyone is getting like the same program. You find maybe some resources or a file here and there on like how to do things. But what I hear from you is that what you actually needed and what you got is the personal attention to what you need and what you need to tweak and what you need to change in your journey, with also a little bit of pep talk sometimes when you need that. So it's not only about like just having the macros and a training program, but then also the human connection to a coach, but then also a community.
yeah, yeah. So actually, in between you and or my break from you guys and then coming back to you, I was trying to find any way to find like a good deal. And I would do all these discovery calls with people just to see what they'd have to say. Because it would be like a free call. Let's see what you have to say. And I did so many discovery calls and I was trying to find a program that would actually like work, that would be in my budget. Nobody compares to you guys. It's you guys provide, and I did a lot of those calls. You guys provide that individualized programming in the big group, which is to me personally, it feels like one-to-one. And the responses that you both provide with your coaching, with your responses on the app, and the training feedback, the protocols, everybody has their own. And
Mm.
you guys treat each person so differently. It is not cookie cutter. It is not cookie cutter. And what I saw with the other coaching programs is they just seem to be cookie cutter. It's like, follow this program. This is what I did and it really worked. But everyone is so different and everyone has different genetics. And you guys, what I love about you guys is you're not into like fads or like trends. And you guys seem to do things a little bit differently. But the the outcomes are far better. Like the things that you do differently are intra-workout carbs. That's not very trendy. Eating more carbs isn't very trendy.
True.
Keto is trendy. Low carb is trendy. Um, so yeah, that's what I love about you guys is you guys provide that individualized approach to each of your clients. And like I said, I think sometimes I feel guilty with how much time you guys give each of your
Wow.
girls in the club. You guys really do spend a lot of time and thought. And it truly doesn't go unnoticed. You guys do take the time and it does feel like it's individualized coaching in a group. Way more
Yeah.
value than what you guys.
That's nice to hear that it comes across right because it's definitely the whole idea was always how can we make this work for more women but give them the attention they need, and it's
Yeah,
very different for everyone. Someone needs a little bit more like help with nutrition, help with training, help with the mindset, with the recovery piece, whatever it is, but having this space of like the community, and then you, for example, reaching out with one specific thing that you need help with right now, and giving you that support that you need in that moment is what we always wanted to provide, right? And if we can give that also in a space with a lot of other women who are kind of on the same journey as you are, as we are all together, it is just like more fun, in my opinion.
yeah,
How did it help you to be inside of the club and surrounded by these other ladies?
that's a great question, and I do have an answer to that. Um, One thing that I love about this group and that I love about you is everyone's very authentic and honest, and they all come forward with vulnerabilities. So we all have these vulnerabilities. You guys have a pretty big group, but it doesn't feel too big to where there's no connection. I've seen other group fitness ones and blogs and like Facebook groups, whatever, and you're a part of this group and you're getting good job, girl. Great job. Keep it up. But this program, it's like you really make the connections with these women and you go through it with these women. And like I said, when I left, I felt jealous because I was like, well, those are the women I was talking to. I want to be back with them. I want to know what's going on in their lives. And like it feels like a very small group and everyone's very connected. And one thing that sets this group apart, in my opinion, is that these women are no joke. I think one of the master classes you have is like built for more, and like the group here is truly built for more, and you attract these women for whatever reason. You must give off this energy, and like you attract people that are truly built for more. And there's a high caliber women here, and they're very successful, hardworking. It is not just a bunch of lazy girls coming in. So that's what I like is that it's truly quality people that you let into this group. And I think that says a lot about you that you're attracting
Do
these
you,
women.
does it fire you up? Because I mean, it's certainly firing me up as a coach, but also as a woman who is training to see also all of you doing the damn work, right? So if I have a down day where I'm like, oh, like motivation for training today, right? I just need to open the club and be like, oh damn, they're crushing it. So I better do
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah. No, these women are amazing. Yeah, it's highly motivating. It's nice to have all different ages. So people that, I can look up to and that can give me advice. And it's been great. Very, very motivating. It's everyone is very honest with each other and gives good feedback. And there's all kindness. There's no need. Yeah. It's just the vulnerability. And it doesn't feel like it's a large group. It feels like a small community, which is great.
It is kind of, it's kind of like a little like family. You know, like
It
what
is.
the others are doing, right? You're like just part of their lives with
I
all.
prefer it than social media. I like it. I like would rather post on the school app than go on Instagram because I just find it more intentional. And it's like this is what social media should be like, is like this small group of like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I'm going through. Here we go. I love it. Yeah, the
That
app.
was that was probably the idea at some point of like social media, right? To like just share your life and have people.
Right.
But it kind of go went like sideways. And I'm super happy that we have this platform on like school with the Strong Babes Club. It's just a different vibe and energy, even on like Facebook, but which is like
Yeah.
so I don't like that too. So I find the energy very, very special inside the club and how everyone is interacting and even like meeting like in person. I saw that the other day and I was like, that's so cool. Like you can
So
just
cool.
meet in person and have a cup of coffee and be like, hey, I know your life and now I see you in real life, which is cool.
So
Like
cool.
since you joined us the second time, what would you say were the biggest changes or shifts that you felt for yourself?
So the biggest shifts, well, one thing I used to do was I cardio. I'm a junkie, and I still am. But what's changed is I follow a different protocol now. I don't just do boot camps back to back to back. I follow a protocol with intervals that are structured, that I follow. My son has his unicorn. It's loud. If
I
only you could see it.
I don't hear it at all.
Okay. I follow a structured protocol with the intervals, and I now play with different wattages and heart rate zones. It's been so fun, and I've seen so much growth in my cardiac output, my capacity, what I can handle, anaerobic, aerobic. And it's been so fun to have a coach guide me through that, because I had no idea that I was so poorly anaerobically trained. I thought I was just I never knew. I never tracked. So that has been a really cool shift, is to see my cardiac capacity change, because I went from being like all over the place, cardio bunny all over, but now it's like, okay, my heart rate's in this zone for this workout, this zone for this workout. And in that I've seen so much change and so much growth. And it's cool to be able to like track the data, because I'm really data driven. So that has been a really, really cool shift, is the cardio portion. And the strength portion, I've seen a huge shift. And it's not me that's seeing the shift. It's every time I go out in public, someone's like, what do you do? Are you a coach? Are you a teacher? Why do you look so good? Your arms, if only I could have your arms. And it's getting a little overwhelming, which is great. But it's like, every time I go out in public, it's like someone now makes a comment, which is super cool. But I mean, I'm changing, but it's not me just noticing, it's the outside world. So
Yeah.
there's definitely been a shift there, because people are now commenting. So I can't deny that. But I've never seen more definition in my legs. My strength numbers. Oh, this is where I used to kind of go all over the place. I would just do what I feel. So I would think I was progressive overloading, because I'm like, yeah, I'm tracking it. I play with like different rep ranges and different weights, but I never had structure in that. And so I never really saw true progress. And then since joining you guys, I have, protocol and progress, and I am following the workouts to a T. And in that, I'm seeing far more growth gains. And it's with the tempo, it's with the structure, it's with the rep ranges, it's following your protocols and actually listening to what you guys are saying, is where I'm seeing the growth. And it is slow, because I am in a growth is slow, and that's what I'm trying to accept, because sometimes I get down on myself, like, oh, I'm not growing, and my weight isn't really changing, but the definition, the strength is. But seeing myself grow, like physically, it takes time, and so that's what I have to accept. But the changes that are happening are definitely there, and it's the mindset too. Since joining you guys, I've become so much more introspective. The calls that we have, the posts that people make, everyone is really smart and brings a lot to the table. And so whenever someone posts a comment or there's a call, I reflect on it constantly. So I become so much more introspective. I constantly am thinking about what the wins are. You guys have us talk about our wins and, give 20 things that you did today that was a win. And I'm constantly trying to, even though I don't post every single day, I post frequently, but I'm always thinking of what did I do that was a win today? Like, because that's what's going to keep you going. So there's been lots of good shifts, and I think I'm just more mindful. Now I trust that, I'm on the brink of overdoing it still, but I now trust that I am on the right trajectory with your guys' coaching to be, I am on the cusp of a breakthrough, and I know I am because of you guys. Um, right now I am still breastfeeding. I'm trying to stop. I'm trying to wean there. I'm trying to cut down on everything, but and then my goal is to then get my period back and eventually have another baby. And so I know that I'm on the brink of all of this with your guys' coaching.
And you are like giving yourself the time to do that, right? I,
Yeah,
I think that's
takes time.
so important that we just like if we know we are like on the right path, if it feels good, the path feels good, which is super important, right? Otherwise, we will not like follow through. That we then just like hang in there, as you said, like building up the or dialing back like the overdoing, making sure that you're getting enough food in, and then growing and focusing on that, focusing on performance, growth, strength is definitely a slow process. And
Mhm.
oftentimes we maybe expect faster results, like in a fat loss phase where, things are happening quick, you're just eating less and the weight is dropping. When it comes to growth and strength gains, it definitely takes more time. But I see that you are in for it for the long haul, right? It's not just like, hey, let me do that like a little challenge, but now it's about like establishing those things, dialing in those things. As you said with the cardio piece, it's like, okay, now I understand my anaerobic aerobic system. I'm improving those things. I'm getting stronger in the gym, and now it's kind of just like staying consistent and focusing on that path that is like in front of you. And I love to see that. I was like super happy when you came back and you were like, okay, let's do this. Let's like jump in and let's commit, and go all in for the full like year, and let's focus on that. Let's work together. So
Well,
what
you said if you come back, I want you to do this wholeheartedly. I want you to do this. And that was the agreement that we had. And yes, yeah. And I'm committed.
That's the most important thing. Like bringing that to the table is so important. Like getting coached only works like from both sides, right? So if one of the sides is not like all in,
Choking hazard. This is what my kid gets into. Let me.
dangerous.
All right, I'm back. How does that happen? How does he get into that? Okay, I'll just hold him for a second.
No worries. Hi. Like what's going on here?
Yeah.
No, it's amazing that you jumped in and you were like, I'm going all in on this. So my last question for today would be, what would you say for a woman who is like on the fence? Who is the woman you would not recommend it to or recommend the club to?
Gosh, I wouldn't not recommend it for anybody. I think you can meet anyone where they're at. Breast weaning isn't going that well. But what I can recommend is what I suggest for women is hold on. Here. Sign up. Pull the trigger. And what I recommend, don't do what I did the first time, was only do a couple months, because when you're training, it's not linear.
Mm.
It's up and down and up and down. And giving yourself only a few months might not do it. And you might back out like I did. And then still not have any growth. So what I recommend for women is pull the trigger, do it, sign up and commit. You owe it to yourself. And for me, I actually only committed originally to 6 months. And after like 1 or 2 days back in the group, I was like, sign me up for a year. I need to commit to this for 1 full year. 6 months is not going to be enough for what I need. So my recommendations for women is pull the trigger and do it. And don't just commit for 3, 6 months. Pull the trigger and just commit for a year. Give yourself the time because it's not something that's, if you're in it for the long haul, you want the time. So that's my advice. And it's 100% worth it. And you guys are incredible. I love everything you guys put out. Huge fan of you guys. I'm so glad and honored to be in the group. So I just want to stay in forever.
Forever, I'm like, let's continue until you're 90 and you're like squatting.
Yeah. And you guys are doing such a good job, and I know there's so much more to come. I know you guys aren't done, and that's what I love about you guys is that you guys are you guys both have coaches yourselves. You guys are constantly learning. It's not, you guys aren't just following the same thing over and over again. You guys are growing, and you're growing the program, and I'm along for the ride, and I love it. So yeah, I don't want to leave it. I want to be a part of it all. And I want to see you guys succeed in this and grow and become the biggest strength women's coaching in the world. So, and I think you guys are on path for that.
We will do that, Katie. With you, we will definitely do that. We have so much things that are coming your way, and I'm like super excited to share new updates very soon. But I'm very grateful to have you as part of the community. I think you bring an amazing energy to the club. With your post, you said you're not posting daily, but you're still in there. And I can see that. And you're also sharing the not only the highs but also the lows, and that's super important. And I value that because that's because of you. There is this like social connection in there. That's why we are like humans connecting in there, and that's why the club is the club with all the girls. Because someone like you is showing up and just sharing what's going on in your journey. And I'm very grateful. Thank you for today. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the interview.
I was stoked to meet with you. Anything to support you guys. I can't get enough of it. So thank you. Thank you for everything. You guys will change my life. And I will never forget you guys when I'm 90 and I look back and I'm like, they're the ones that really gave me that shift for this longevity. So
And
thank you. And
who knows? Who knows? Maybe one day we will do a little US tour and then we can meet up. It'll.
oh my gosh, anytime. San Diego's calling your name, girl. All
Bye
right.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.